everyone, Miltyman234 here, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Media, where I dig up some stuff you may or may not have heard of. Now, some of you can tell I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, such a classic film and one of Tim Burton's memorable films, and my channel name is actually based off of one of the citizens of Halloween Town. With such a great movie, there's an explosion of merchandising from dolls to sculptures to snow globes, ornaments, and so on. Of course, they had their share of making action figures, as most people remember the company NECA making a lot of NBC merchandise. Of course, nowadays we have Joom Planning as the current company making the action figures. NECA has made 6 series of action figures of the characters and things based off of the film. They also made some box sets like the Oogie vs. Jack one, and some exclusive figures like Pirate Jack and Vampire Jack. While NECA was still doing some of the merchandising on NBC, and had just finished Series 6 of their action figure line, they had plans for a Series 7, but it was cancelled because NECA didn't renew their license to make more. So today we'll be looking at a small lot of Nightmare Before Christmas action figures that were made by NECA but never released. First up is another Sally figure. This is actually the 3rd time they made one of these. The first one in the series had Sally with a few accessories, such as the black cat, deadly nightshade, and some small bottles she gives to Jack when he's still pondering about Christmas. In Series 3, they made a more sad-looking Sally that would come with her sewing machine and a picture of Jack in his Santa outfit. In Series 7, she was going to have her apron, a cauldron, and stove, obviously representing her kitchen stuff she uses to make food for Dr. Finkelstein. I'm sure they would have some other accessories added in, maybe like the Frog's Breath can, or Worm's Warp, since they already used Deadly Nightshade. Even though the figure was scrapped, surprisingly Joom Planning made their version of the concept, and I always wondered if they knew they were actually finishing a cancelled project. Next up is Oogie Boogie, which is actually his first time being part of the series, since he was only available in one of the box sets they made. This Oogie would come with his normal colors, which is his brownish color, not his green one, and it would have a feature where you can rip off his arm, revealing the bugs inside. It looks like he might have come with a few accessories like a present and the card in the background, but I'm not sure if they was going to have any more, but the figure is pretty big. Even though the figure wasn't made, its prototype can be seen on the back of Series 6 figures. And finally, we have a fancy double figure pack that would feature another Santa Jack, a Santa Sally, which is pretty interesting, various presents that are mostly from Christmas Town, and the giant snake. It's pretty interesting seeing Sally in a Santa outfit because they actually made a Santa Sally figure a while back as more of a fancy special edition figure, and I'm sure that's pretty rare. But it's a bit of a shame that this double figure pack wasn't made. It looked pretty cool. Since the NBC action figure series NECA made usually had 4 in each series, this one only has 3. So it still remains a mystery whether NECA had plans of making a 4th one in Series 7. After all that hard work and planning, it's a bit of a shame that these figures weren't finished. They would have been cool. Well, I was going to end the episode here, but before I do, I have a special treat. While I was doing some research on the cancelled action figures, I stumbled upon some forgotten history of the Disney theme parks. Apparently, there was going to be a Nightmare Before Christmas attraction ride that was going to be in Disneyland and was in its storyboard sketches during 1996, I think. It would have you riding on Jack's sled, gliding through the air, looking at familiar scenes from the film. Obviously, the idea of flying sleds in the ride were based off of the Peter Pan ride. It does a good job recreating scenes from the film as its artwork was done by Christopher Merritt. The one weird thing about the ride is that it was going to be placed next to It's a Small World ride, and that seems a bit like a bad idea. Because on one side we have this cute and happy-go-lucky ride, and on the other side is this dark and scary-looking ride. It's like showing the light and dark side of Disney. Since Disney and Burton owned certain halves of the film during the time, Disney needed Burton's approval to get the ride in full motion. When the team showed Burton the idea and its sketches, he rejected the idea as he feared that Disney was overexposing his characters, which seems weird, but oh well. Even though the ride was cancelled, it did give Disney Imagineers some inspirations of doing the Haunted Mansion holiday that had Jack Skellington and the gang take over the Haunted Mansion every year during October through December, and was featured in Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland. It's a bit of a shame that the original ride was scrapped. It looked awesome. It would have become a popular ride even though it has a weird location next to the Small World ride. Well, that wraps up this episode of Forgotten Media, so this is Melting Man 234 signing out.